There we are. Good morning. My name is Nakaya. It's really good to be here again with you this morning. Hopefully, the setup's a little different this morning, so I'm playing around with sound and distance. So, take a big breath for me. That's for me. I realized two things sometime between this morning and last night. One was a moderate amount of anxiety about what I was going to talk about. There's so many things to talk about, but which things are going to be actually meaningful to other people who are stopping by to spend time with this channel or this page or wherever you're finding me. So there was that. And then there was also the recognition that I was looking forward to being in conversation, even though it seems one-sided. There's always the opportunity to participate in the chat boxes or to just have dialogue in the chat box back and forth. So that was a lovely experience to recognize that, okay, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm looking forward to being there and having the experience. So I want to share that with you. Some of you might be experiencing a similar thing, excitement and uh, some anxiety. So, what do I talk about? Um, I know what I want to talk about, and it's going to be bigger than the time I have. I only have about 20 minutes. I'm very excited. Uh, I've been here for a year and almost 2 months now. Almost a month, a year and a month, something like that. Um, and connecting with people and developing friendships has been wasn't even there was so much going on last year that I didn't even have space anywhere in my system for that. But some interesting synchronicities are happening, and I'm beginning to meet some people that make sense. So it's very exciting, and I get to have brunch with one of them this morning. So there might be food pictures coming later. Anyway, I only have a few minutes to talk with you. But I wanted to start by explaining my name. So if you're on my YouTube channel, you will notice that it went from Like Papaya to Earthside Collaborations. And I've been thinking about this for a long time. There are a couple of other places I've wanted to make that update. And Earthside Collaborations is a name that has it's been working me from the inside out ever since it came to me a few years ago. So, like papaya, for those of you who know me, you know that I have to explain to people how to pronounce my name. And years ago, I met a group of people from the Caribbean who, when they met me, and I introduced my name and said how to spell it, they're like, oh, like papaya. And I was like, huh, where have you been all of my life? So I've been using that as a way of introducing myself and teaching people how to say my name. And it's kept me lighthearted in all of my social media where I use it. And it's been an incredible tool for the people who meet me because it gets mispronounced for me and the way that my mother intended for it to be. And that just helps, like papaya. So that's why I've used that name, and I love that name, and I will continue to use it elsewhere. But for the purposes of what I'm wanting to create now, Earthside Collaborations is it's for other people. Like papaya is for me, because I can't stand the name. I can't stand my name. It's just like, nails on a chalkboard. Um, but Earthside Collaborations is for those of you who are watching, those of you who may be watching in the future, um, really whether or not you're developing a business. I am very devoted to business creation right now, and I do not have time to explain that. I have to. Hopefully, you guys can hang with me because some of what I'm going to say is going to be very, very useful to a number of you, especially if you work with it. So I'm trying to figure out I could go way back in my story, but I'm going to start with my first professional skill set, which was massage therapy. And then so many of the things that come with growing into a body worker, meditation instruction, nutritional counseling, all sorts of energy medicine, vibrational healing modalities. I have been certified and licensed in a lot of things. I was a practitioner. I'm trying to condense this, super condense. I was a practitioner who loved the work, and the work was such a blessing to me. Um, I I literally woke up one morning in my early 20s after several years of just continual prayer. Like, I don't know what to do with my life. And that is also an interesting story where I came from. Um, I just had no idea. And one morning, um, after a big move across country, I woke up and just heard in my head, heard in my system, you are going to go to massage school. Didn't know what that meant, but I'm like, okay, where is it? And that is how that journey began. And I'm so grateful for that journey. I have traveled. It's just grateful. I'll tell that story, those stories another time. What I want to tell you is, for some of us in the healing arts community, there used to be, and again, it's a bigger story than what I'm going to tell you, but the pieces that I can pull out that will make sense to some of you are, there used to be this idea of vows of poverty, that there are people in the world who have taken vows of poverty, and then over lifetimes, that vow continues with them. And I had that mindset of being afraid of the material world. Very clear that I was a spirit, a divine soul. And this is something I wanted to mention. I know that people break out soul and spirit. I know that people say soul is different from spirit. I'm going to use those words as the same word for the purposes of this, like 12 minutes that I have left and just what I'm trying to communicate. So I was very clear that I am a spiritual being, that I am a soul in this body. I did not like at all that I had to be here participating with this nonsense. That's how I felt about it. The insanity of the world. It was very difficult, very difficult. And I have a lot of fun in life. Like, I have a lot of fun, but there for the longest time was just this guardedness and resistance and just inability to cross over into actually being embodied, like in my body. And then a series of events happened, and that process started taking place for me. Now, what does this have to do with business? Business is a material creation. We get an idea, and I'm going to use the word inspiration because the root meaning of the word inspiration is breath of God. And this just brings me to tears. This is where my motivation is coming from right now, because I finally, and it's taken years, finally understand that all of our inspirations, they're inspired by God. And if we do not follow through on them, if we do not pick them up and put them into action, it's like we're ignoring God. Now, there's a lot of words for God. I'm not speaking about any like tradition. I'm talking about our direct experience with the divine, and that is going to mean different things for different people, and we have to allow that. That's not what I'm talking about. And I recognize that we get ideas all the time. There's only maybe a handful of those ideas that are actually worth our time and energy, or our capacity as physical humans will only allow us to pursue certain things. So at some point, we have to have discernment. We have to be able to practice, okay, which of these dozens of ideas that I woke up with this morning am I going to pursue? So sometimes we'll know. Sometimes we'll know. And we'll like, yeah, all of that looks great, but this is the one. For some of us, we will need to develop a tremendous amount of somatic intelligence. Somatic is another word for body. So our body is constantly sending us signals, constantly sending us communication about everything, which direction to go in, which people to talk to, what things to say. The body is what's right for us, what's not right for us, what we need to be eating, how long we need to be sleeping. It's a big range, the amount of communication the body is giving us. And this is one of the reasons why being able to sit in silence and quiet is so important. Being able to turn off the channels and the pages and the outside stimulation so that we can practice and develop the skill of inner listening. I'm hopefully you're taking notes because these are the practices that you can do to get clear about what your messages are and which ones are the ones to follow. You are going to know with enough practice. For me, business took a long time for me to understand that, and I wrote it down. It can be very easy for some of us to just want to sit in the stillness and the quiet of the spirit. It feels amazing. And it feels like home. But for some of us, that is not what we came here to do. We came here to be embodied and to give our contributions, our divine contributions back into this landscape, this physical world. That is what we're here for whatever reason. And business is one of the ways that a number of us can do that. When we have the resources that we are channeling to give to the things that we believe in. You know, one of the things when I started realizing that I am, in fact, material life attracts me. I'm sure people who look at me, if they're really, really paying attention, they would understand this about me. I love beautiful things. I love handmade, artisanally crafted, beautiful things. That tends to be my preference more than like big box store things. But I love the tactile world. Like, I mean, I was a massage therapist for 20 years. Like, I love touching the world. But the world, like the material is an expression of the divine. It took a long time for me to recognize this. And so our businesses are a channel of resources for us and for the world. So Earthside Collaborations is my understanding that I am a divine being surrounded by divine beings who are here to collaborate in creating, and this is where I don't want to put it on you what it is, but for me, I say in creating a better world. And that, for me, one of the things that I love are sea turtles. And it has been a long time dream of mine to have the financial resources to contribute to turtle rescue sanctuaries. I don't know why I love sea turtles, but when I love them, my heart just like explodes every single freaking time. It does not matter how many times I've seen them, and I've seen them a lot. But my point is, you want to contribute to something, and there is something that you want to contribute to that requires actual physical resources. And I know that there's all sorts of conversation about what's happening with the monetary system and the financial system and blah, blah, blah. I get it. And change is here and it's coming, and things are going to look very different however many years down the road than they do now or did 20 years ago. I get that. We're still going to need currency. Currency has always been with us. And if you guys want to have some fun and go look up some words, currency, commerce. Go look up the word commerce. It is a beautiful, beautiful word. And get an old dictionary. I'll in another, it's actually, I think my computer's sitting on my dictionary, but go look that word up. It will give you a lot of information about what business was and what we can bring it back to. So I titled this, What is Your Divine Download Connection? Because I want you to, if you're already tuned into the way that you get inner direction, the way that you get clear on what your intuition's telling you, the way that you make space for continual inspiration so that you can continue to evolve and grow and create things in your life. If you don't have that practice, or if you've fallen out of that practice, I want to encourage you to take some time to think back on when you felt creatively inspired. What activities do you do? Do you walk? Do you read? Do you meditate? Do you pray? Does it come in your dream time? For me, a lot of those places, driving, when I'm driving. And so you might have your phone recorder on and just be talking. There might be a lot of gaps, but you'll catch your nuggets. For me, a deliberate practice is writing. And I was participating in a writing group last night that was celebrating women mystics. And I have, okay, so two things are happening right now. I want to talk about blocks, habits and patterns that we have that can block us from our flow of inspiration. And I lost the other one, so I guess I'll talk about blocks. I'm not going to be able to communicate all of this because I can't bring you into my experience, but we all have patterns. Every single one of us have patterns that keep us stuck in relationships with people, keep us stuck in certain dynamics in our relationships with people, with our work, with life. And the more that we can become aware of our patterns and clear our patterns, correct our patterns, whatever we need to do, in order to create new ways of being for ourselves, new ways of showing up. When we're stuck in the pattern, we just keep doing things the same way, and it does affect other areas of our life. Like it blocks us from full expression of ourselves. So I've had a pattern, a long-standing pattern in my life that I've done a lot of work around it. I've done a lot of work around it. And as we do work with ourselves, as we like clean things up and develop new skills and new internal muscle, like the physical muscle, but then also, I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to wrap this up. Anyway, I have a pattern. The pattern was activated. It was activated last week. There are things that have come up in my life that have just really brought this pattern right up into my face. And it's been painful. And in this writing last night, I saw it. I got information about what that is for me. And that's what I want for you. Because it just opened up so much. It opened up so much, including levels of confidence that may not be visible to other people, but I can feel them. It is like reclaiming pieces of ourselves. I know for some of you, you're going to be like, what the hell is she talking about? just know that you are a multi-dimensional being. So yes, my focus is business, but my skill set is with mindset. It's the things that we tell ourselves, the way that we stop ourselves in our relationships. Business is just a relationship. Commerce literally is about relationships. And it's not a one, it's all of our relationships. So this is relevant because in in something that brings me joy, which is a writing workshop. I've not done that in years. Writing was my first formal teaching position. I love writing. I've always loved writing, and I've been looking for ways to return back to it. So when I made the commitment to show up for this class, in one of the writing practices, I got clarity, and it was like from a divine place, from a place higher than my personality. My personality was struggling with this issue, and from somewhere else, which, could still be within us, but from another perspective in myself, I could see what that issue was for me. The more self-awareness we can bring into our lives and our experience, the more of ourselves we have available to share with the world. And some of us have been hiding from the world for good reason. I am calling us out. That Earthside collaboration. Collaboration is more than one entity, more than one person. It is a group effort. And you have skill sets that I need. I have skill sets that you need. We have skill sets that the people around us need. And because we have access to this virtual online system, it's that ripple effect. Like, our capacity to reach people is broad and wide. I have to go. I have to go eat, which is another one of my favorite things. Um, Thank you so much for those of you who hung out through the whole conversation. I will go back and watch this, and I'll pull out the pieces that I would like to really clarify for people, because what I'm wanting to encourage you with in this video, it's very, very useful when you can figure out how to work it for yourself. So have a great Tuesday. I'll see you again tomorrow.